Welcome to my channel, Level Headed with Levi D. Today we are going to be covering the PI in the missing person / criminal investigation of the disappearance of Dylan Rounds. All right. Hello, Darkness Exposed, Empress Nero. Welcome in. All right. I'm going to go over, share my screen here real quick. Hello, checking convictions. Hello, Ruby Pearl Glamper, True Crime Podcast. Hello, Bling. Crystal Langford, hello. Yes, Mr. Jim Terry. James Terry, as he states in one of the videos I'm going to play today. So I'm going to do, the reason for this is we're going to define what a clout chaser is. Hello, Susan Goins. We'll start right now with what a clout chaser is. So, clout chaser is a noun, a person who strategically associates themselves with the success of a popular person or a currently contemporary trend to gain fame and attention. This personality disorder is often resembled as riding the wave for damage or integrity. That is Clout Chaser Urban Dictionary by Uncle Snoop. And that, my friends, is exactly what we have here. So I'm going to start with a couple things that were posted here. So this is so these dates are important. I haven't flagged it down, but this evening on Sleuth Moms, which I will drop the link when I start playing that video of the recordings of him and how ridiculous he was acting. But this evening or maybe tomorrow, Dylan's mother is going to be on there explaining some things, hopefully. So dates are important. This is 6/15/2022. This comes out as Box Elder County Sheriff's Office press release. Dylan Rounds - missing person / criminal investigation up. So here we have it. So it's a missing person / criminal investigation update. My point is by this, they came out with that on 6/15. This one, which was done by Elko County Sheriff's Office. This one was done on June 9th. This is saying that Box Elder County is in charge. They were having jurisdiction issues here. Have you heard the way he was speaking to Dylan's mom? No call for that. Yes, we will get into that. So there was some jurisdiction issues and when he went missing and a whole bunch of other issues with Elko County and Box Elder County. They figured out their differences. They figured out what's going on, and they're all working together now. I do want to bring up. I do want. Hold on here 1 second. Go to my community tab real quick. This was brought out yesterday. So this was done yesterday. It was on my community tab. James Jim Terry is no longer working on behalf of the Rounds Cooley family. Effective immediately, Mr. James Terry is not investigating, nor is he a spokesperson for the family of Dylan Rounds. Please direct tips and leads to Elko County Sheriff, Box Elder County Sheriffs for clarification. The family had a difference of opinions on the direction to take with the investigation and the role the family should hold. Our roles as the family and the PI for the family are to be active collectors of information. Information gathered should be passed on to LE to actively investigate. Mr. Terry, however, has focused on small town rumors and conspiracy theories. We therefore decided to go our separate ways. Once we decided to go our separate ways unethically, Mr. Terry has taken the sharing these rumors, conspiracy theories, crazy accusations into the public eye. As a result, we have focused on finding information to hand over to law enforcement for them to investigate. Do not condone Mr. Terry's actions or handling of information since we have parted ways. The Dylan Rounds family. This is very important because it has come out that I call him a clout chaser. I've found several panels that he's been on recently explaining his sides. Okay, conspiracy theories or not. I'm really curious into what hold on one second. I have an important phone call. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. That was somebody that I haven't spoke to in a while that I check up on every now and then, and wanted to make sure that I answered the phone call. If any of what he said to Dylan's family is true, they better be calling the CIA in on this case. Well, so there's always three sides to a story. There's the truth. There's the hearsay by one person, the hearsay by the other person. So I don't know. But what I see from my eyes is how many, let's put a one in the chat. How many people have ever spoken to a fisherman before? Let's do that. Put a one in chat if you've ever spoken to a fisher that has caught a fish that he says is way bigger than what it is. All right, there's a one. Hello, Mountain Girl 212. Hello, Arctic Fox. Hello, JR4306. Lori, thanks for coming in. All right. So I use that as, so when you get let go, I supposedly, according to this CI, from what I heard this morning, or this CI, this PI, private investigator, no fisherman, but I dated a few guys like that, Crystal Langford. So the reason why I use that is this seems like a big, huge phishing story. And why is it so important for this guy to put this out? That's my number one question. We will go back to this page, and then I'll start a video. I'll be stopping in between here and pausing on some of the stuff he says. Let me just go to the first one I'm going to go to. So June 15th is when he came out first. And that was on a
felon or anything like that, so I was able to carry a gun, which is why they wanted me to do it. So I started looking at private.
All right. So this is going to be on a different channel. We'll post their link here. I will not be showing their stuff. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear. So this is Monkey Mar, where he was yesterday. So what I'm going to do here is full screen that. And then we're going to listen to him a little bit. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I just want to get a little background on him and make sure that you guys can hear. So if you can hear, just put yes, we can hear.
Investigating in only the aspect of missing persons cases. My mom was retiring as a school teacher in Central Florida. I grew up in Clearwater Beach. And she says, I'll tell you what, if you go to private investigating school at Hillsborough Community College in Tampa, Florida, I'll go back to night school with you and we'll take the courses together and we'll be a PI. What they never told you in the case. So I went back to college. I went back to school with my mother. My mother was almost 70 years old. And we were sitting in class together with all these gorillas and all these, knuckleheads and ex-cops and 95% of private investigators are shitheads. I get that. And you could throw me into that list if you want, especially when you talk to a cop. But I'll wrap the story up with this. My mom and I went through the courses. We were ready to graduate the courses in the state of Florida. And this is going to answer your question. And they said, okay, great. And I had questions like, how do you open the business? What do you charge per hour? What if you only want to have a website and do one case at a time? And the guy, the professor who was an FBI agent says, whoa. In the state of Florida, complete your courses in this college. After we had gone, this is the final night of the class, he says, you have to be an understudy for somebody in the state for 2 years before you can become a licensed private investigator in the state of Florida. So you have an intern license and you have to work. Well, I'm making $100,000 a year playing arena football for 3 months. I can't call off games. I'm in my late 30s. The games are on ESPN. I'm not going to call that off. Been doing it for decades. So what I did was I found a state, took the education that didn't have the same requirements. So my education as an intern in the state of Florida, an intern license, was achieved almost 6 years ago. That intern license is good for 4 years. But within days of graduating the school, I just got a license in the state of Mississippi and became a licensed, business licensed private investigator with the education in Florida. So my intern license, I'm sure, because I've never worked a case in the state of Florida, has since dissolved. So if people are looking at me because of my phone number in the state of Florida, they're 100% correct. But I'm a licensed private investigator out of Biloxi, Mississippi. There are currently 6 states that you do not need to have any education or any sort of background other than a business license to be a PI. You in Australia, you in Delaware, you in Maine, you in California can be a licensed private investigator. Even O.J. Simpson can in Idaho, Colorado, South Dakota, Wyoming, Alaska.
I love Biloxi. It's a great town.
And Colorado is the 6 states you could be a licensed PI in right now, which is why I took this case out of Idaho. So if people are telling you that my license in Florida is expired, I was never a PI there. I only went to school there and on the registry. If they look at my business license, Gulf Coast Investigation, I'm good for the next 7 years, ladies. And unfortunately, those are semantics that I just don't argue on Facebook.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Because I had heard it on the grapevine and I knew you'd be able to explain it. I thank you for doing that.
You
Now-
know, I think a lot of people, you know, are like with Jim, I think they just don't like how blunt he is. And you know, hey Shredder, sometimes I mean I have
So the reason for playing this is we're going to get a little bit more background of this guy to figure out what his reasoning is to go spread all of this as soon as they wanted to part ways, to spread all of this information onto several different YouTube channels. The mother was doing great with exposing, like putting out the information that needed to be put out to the public to keep Dylan's face out there. And this is just completely wrong. If he was going to come up here and speak facts, he can't speculate. As any investigator, you should not be speculating on information. Yes, they're called hunches, speculation. You take that. So he works in all the states. You don't need to meet state standards for a license. That's a very good question, the Mystery Maven. My point is yes, everybody takes hunches and takes them and runs with them. It's like a rabbit hole. It's like taking and going someplace with information. But the thing is you take facts, which he did get facts. He did look up backgrounds on certain people involved, farmhands, different stuff like that. I'm not saying that he's all bad. What I am saying, though, is this speculating information and bringing it over to YouTube is what the problem is. And I'm going to show you that it creates a big, huge problem.
have no filter, Jim. I really have to bite my tongue off on most of my lives. So I get it, but some people can't handle it, and it's YouTube, so you got to have thick skin. I want to know the truth. I want to know what you know. I want to know what you found out. I want to know what you think.
And just to clear up the question that's being asked right now, because I'm not going to answer these, I'll let
you know the truth too, but we don't want to know speculation over the facts. We want to know the facts out here.
Let you guys ask me questions for you. I don't know everything, and I'm not vulgar or nasty or a liar just to be that way. I don't have a theory in a private investigating case. On a missing persons case, I don't have a theory. This isn't, with the candlestick in the library. That's not how this works. I am not a true crime fan. I don't watch Investigation Discovery. I don't watch Another 48 Hours. I hate all that shit. Somebody just asked me before we went on this program, do you know this case? And what's the little girl everybody is absolutely enamored with? They shaved her head.
All right. So clout chaser number 1. Right there, he just showed that he doesn't watch all this stuff, doesn't do any of this stuff. But he comes and brings himself to YouTube to spread all this information out for hundreds of thousands of people to see. So, and plus, as you can tell over here in my thumbnail that I used, he has this up on panel while he is speaking on every panel he's been on so far. That would be his phone number. So we'll continue on here.
I couldn't tell you 30 seconds about that case. I don't know anything about the 2 girls put in a well, the black kids missing in San Diego. If it's not a case I'm working on, I don't give a shit. I have a very special practice. And by the way, there's somebody asking, because I'm from Clearwater Beach, Florida, and that's where I grew up, if I'm involved with the Church of Scientology. I am not, although everybody I come in contact with over the last couple of weeks thinks I look exactly like Tom Cruise from Maverick, who is a Scientologist. So
right on the money.
Yeah, I see where they put that. But my business real quick model is I only usually work one case at a time. where a cop could work 300. I work in several different states. I charge a one-time lump sum fee at the beginning. I do not charge an hourly wage. So you cannot fire a guy who's already been paid in full for the job. You may not want to work with me anymore, but you can't fire a guy who's been fully paid. So I'm not an hourly employee, and I'm the only guy in the country that does this. I specialize in missing persons, celebrity missing persons cases, minority missing persons cases, and missing things. I've had people call me to find a stolen RV or a Super Bowl ring. Now that's all I have to say. Fire away.
Kurt has scratches on his arm or not. It's Troy, right?
Troy Wadsworth has scratches on his arm,
the brother,
nail marks, which the father, who is Justin, who, by the way, the parents are not the ones that hired me. The one that actually paid me was a woman named Miss Wells. She is Justin's sister, is the one that paid me. But the ones that they wanted on the bookwork that hired me was the grandparents, which would be the paternal side, the father's side,
and Larry.
In the property.
Larry and Karen, Justin's parents.
I called them Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah,
Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa. That's how we do it. So, but go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay.
We wrote down some questions earlier. Cass is going to ask because actually I'm losing my voice because I know I sound like Demi Moore, but I'm not trying to be sexy.
Yes.
Well, it's working.
Okay. I heard you speaking on those elusive tape. First of all, did you know you were being recorded on the phone with Candace?
I assume I'll answer that because I've had that question like 15 times today.
Oh,
I don't give a shit. You can record any conversation.
So he's had the question 15 times, and this was, he said today. So if he's had that question 15 times today, which would have been yesterday when this played. So what other panels was he on yesterday? I'm curious. Oh my God, I can't listen to this one of BPI. Actually, he's done some so I will give him this. He's done some very, very good stuff for some families. I dropped the timeline in the Facebook. Oh, cool. And I just curious that he has done some good in helping people. I just don't understand his angle or his advertisement of himself on YouTube. And remember this. On June 15th, and you know that he has to be watching this case still. On June 15th, they came out and said that this is now a missing person / criminal investigation. So this would be causing like hearsay speculation, but more on the lines of when we get into it, I'm going to throw it out there. This is more on the lines of interference, kind of. A generalized exaggerator. Yeah, we'll continue on a little bit.
I feel that I'm always being filmed. I'm always being recorded. There was nothing on those tapes that I wouldn't have said right here, right now. In fact, I'll expand on anything you want. So if you want to record me, you got my permission now. I don't give a shit. So there was nothing on there I would have said behind private. Hopefully you can hear the passion in my voice on that call.
But Jim, we get that, but we're just curious, regardless of how you feel about it. Did they tell you that they were recording that call?
No.
Okay.
But they might not have to have if they're in a one-party state. I don't know.
No, we get it. We were just curious, regardless of how you felt, and we know you're an open book, but we wanted to know if they were letting you know that call was being recorded.
Guys, I'm gonna throw something real quick in there. Because hopefully we got time. I think I might have told them to record every call. I just didn't know they were recording me, but I mean, I think I gave them that advice, so God bless them.
Okay.
All right. So, as you know, we all know that what you think Kurt's been doing to Dylan for the past 2 years. When we did a search on Kurt Wadsworth background, on the services that are available to us, which are maybe limited to what you have available to you, we couldn't find any criminal records on Kurt per se. Were you, in your investigation, did you find any criminal records on Kurt at all? We found some on Troy, yes, but nothing on Kurt.
All right, so keyword they used there. They just asked him, if YouTube has taught me anything, it's assume you're always being recorded. Definitely. A very important word that they just used there. During his investigation that they paid money for, why is he coming over here to YouTube to put it all out? All out on YouTube. Why? If somebody paid money for him to do a job and you finish the job, or you get let go, or they no longer want to work with you, why are you running over here to YouTube to put out everything that you found?
Nothing that would raise an eyebrow.
Oh, and I want to make this clear. Nothing against these creators. I think that these creators, this guy was going to go and speak wherever he could get the time of day from. So it didn't matter with these creators. I actually watch both of the creators that I've seen him on myself. I actually like them. He wanted to come and give his story. I just don't understand why he has to go in such great detail with stuff that's facts and then stuff that's not facts. That is speculation. And we'll point some of those out here in a minute.
To the degree of the other family members. But just to start from the beginning here, Kurt Wadsworth did not come into this story. If you go back to the beginning, even days before I was hired, and I spoke with the family maybe 3 or 4 days before they ever gave me $1. In fact, I begged him. I says, I'm not for everybody. Look into who I am, look into my cases, understand what I'm about. I don't work under you. I'll work for you. So, for example, what a lot of people think they do with a private investigator is they get a private investigator, and then the parents say, okay, I want you to look up this license plate. Call this guy. I want you to look into this lead. I want you. No. I'm not taking directions from a Costco worker. I just told you I went to school for this. I'm going to go ahead and take instructions from a woman who didn't pay me, who's a Costco employee. God bless everybody who works at Costco, but I'm not paying anybody at the checkout line to find a missing person. It's why they hired me. So I'll run down leads. If you want me to look something up, God bless you, I'll do it. But what I'm telling you and what I'm looking for, I have no reason to lie. So with all due respect to the mother and the father, which, by the way, I didn't even speak to for the first week of the investigation. I was told not to. I have that in text messages. I got proof of some conversations, too. And on this show tonight, I'm going to let you know what those are, which includes domestic violence between the mother and the father over the last 12 years, 14 years, which includes domestic violence between Dylan Rounds and his father, between the grand. I've got it all. If they want to go ahead and challenge the bull, they're going to get the horns. I didn't want to do that, but they let a press release go earlier today that made it seem like I had done a whole lot of a really bad guy. But they never discredited or went against any of the things I said, just that I'm into conspiracy theories. I don't have a theory as a private investigator. So that's where, but the first guy that was in this, when I first started, was a man named Chase, a big, burly, mountain-looking guy with a beard, and they were offering $20,000 for their son and $5,000 for this fucking moron.
Let me ask you one question, Jim. How did you start in the case? Did they contact you? Like, when did you actually get involved with Dylan?
Here's how this works.
I just have to let Oscar out. Won't be a tick.
All right. This is very, very important what he says right here. So how did he get involved in this case? And then I'm not going to go into the other allegations. I'm sure that a lot of you have seen them. If you haven't, I did drop the link in my chat, and you can watch the rest over on that channel. But this is very, very important on how he became involved in this case.
Okay.
Is Oscar her husband?
Oscar is her Frenchie.
Oh, it's a French bulldog. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to wait, or are we going to go?
No, you go. I'll be listening still.
Yeah, you go. She'll hear you.
So how I got involved in this case is there's a bunch of different Facebook pages and websites, whether they want to admit to it or not, that'll reach out to me, that'll send me cases. I had just solved a couple of cases in the state of Idaho. This guy looked scary. The family was flailing in the first couple of days. Here's this sweet looking young little kid who I thought was 14. And it was sent to me by a couple of Facebook pages and media outlets. And they said, will you at least call this family and let them know? I never call anybody with a price. I don't even take a case unless I discuss it with the family. I don't know that I could do it. Let me give you a couple examples of cases I can't do. I don't do people that leave the country. If some guy from Iran or China takes his kids and goes to another country, don't call me. There's a 4-year-old that went missing in 1979. He's probably my age now if he's alive. I don't do children cases.
Well, welcome back. I got kicked off. Hold on here 1 second. I don't know what happened. My internet disconnected for 1 second. And I will go back to sharing my screen here. I guess people didn't like me speaking. All right, you guys can hear me, right? Just make sure you can hear me real quick, and then left alone. I hate that. Arctic Fox, I dated a guy for 2 years. Sorry, darkness exposed. You guys can hear me, right? Okay, perfect. Let me know if you can hear this, because I'm just going to go back just a little bit.
Florida area code, which I've had that number for 2 decades. So but the first guy that was in this, when I first started, was a man named Chase, a big, burly, mountain-looking, talk fast. I don't have a lot of time for bullshit, but I offered my services for free. I says, let me go over this with you. I'll let you know what I think. I'll run backgrounds on anybody you want for free, and then I'll let you know after about an hour.
All right. You heard that, right? So you heard that he contacted out to the parents and then decided that he would do it for free. So was he paid, or he was doing all of this for free?
Or 2 consultation on this, whether or not I think I could even help you. He hung up on me.
Wow.
A day later, I get a call back from those same media outlets, and they said, how did it go? And I said, these bastards hung up on me. I'm already moving on to other people. They says, you know what? Contact the family again. There's an aunt that we think you need to speak with. And I spoke with her for 3 days. This is all around the time that Chase Venstra was the boogeyman. See, the family has swung and missed on this thing 6 times. They thought Chase Venstra, and he's running around with no shoes, and he's covered in fucking blood, and he's kidnapped our kid. It took me 3 to cross Chase Venstra off the list. That's where we started, and I did that before I ever spoke to the 2 parents. And it was leading up to talking to the 2 parents, my friend.
Yeah, he was at the Little Caesars Pizza, right? 3 hours away.
Yeah, on film. Now, here's how I got Chase Venstra, where the cops couldn't find him because it looked bad. Nobody could find him. Their son's missing, this scary-looking guy who looks nothing like that now, by the way. He's lost 60 pounds. He does not have a beard. And the photo they showed now, is he a good guy? Nah, he's a piece of shit. But he didn't kidnap their son. He wasn't covered in blood. And let me tell you something else about Chase Venstra, which is the most important thing about Chase Venstra. Guess who his arch enemy is? The guy he hates more than anything in this world and was his former boss. The first guy that told me that he was gay, Kurt Wadsworth. Kurt Wadsworth is the one that went to that family and said, he's the one that has your son. He's the one that knows what happened to your son.
All right. So how can he prove everything that he's saying right now? How can he prove that? Yeah, you can run background checks. Yeah, fine. But how can you prove what he is saying right now? Because he's getting information from one person, which would be quote unquote an interview or whatever. Hopefully he recorded it and comes out with it. Yeah, where's this? This is my question. Where's the documentation of what he is speculating right now? Where is his documentation? And as a PI, there's certain things that you want to say and there's certain things that you don't want to say. And as an early on in this investigation of a missing person, it's a criminal investigation now. It's been classified as that. There's proof, there's paper documentation from the actual county sheriffs. I don't know. And then this guy wants to put his phone number out here onto the thing. What is his end goal? Somebody please enlighten me. I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days. I listened to the first stuff. I wanted to keep my mind off of him and not bring that up in my first video that I did about missing Dylan rounds. And I knew it was out there. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't even watch it, that first one. I just don't understand what is his point here. Why is this so important to us? That's interesting. He's well known. I noticed that when I was going through different things I was watching, when I was like watching, he was talking highly of himself. But I did notice that a lot of these creators have his phone number, which is interesting. I get that you want to bring some stuff to the surface, but at what time does that hinder the investigation? At what time are you helping as a PI and you're not helping? We'll just do just a little bit more of this. I mean, this is 2 hours long, and we're only 23 minutes in.
Family was getting this direction from Kurt Wadsworth and his brother Troy because they hated this son of a bitch. It's why they developed a little posse to go around the desert. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, Kurt was actually saying that he was being held against his will in Montego, like 2 different locations.
Maybe he was. I don't know. I only needed to find out whether or not. So what I did to get a hold of Kurt, what I needed to do to get a hold of the Venstra kid was I called his parents. His mom was a school teacher. His dad owned a business. They were nice people. I spoke with his sister-in-law and his brother, all educated college people with incredible jobs that answered my calls. I says, where the fuck's your son? And they said, he's here. Nobody's called us. They says, who are you? Now, they were willing to, Chase Venstra's family was interested in talking to me because I'm not a cop and I'm not from the area. They said the cops and the people in that area and Kurt Wadsworth hate my son. I says, well, I'm finding out some things about Kurt Wadsworth. Have your son call me. I didn't take Chase's word for it that he didn't abduct this kid. His parents told me where to go look. Check Little Caesars, check this. And I did. And Chase Venstra had nothing to do with this kid's disappearance. So now Chase Venstra and Chase Venstra's son, who's 17 years old, virtually the same age as Dylan Rounds, basically get on the phone with me, with his parents, his mom who's a school teacher and his dad. I got 4 people on the phone and I say, okay, we've crossed you off the list. I want to help you. I'm going to go publicly, Chase, and say that you have nothing to do with this. But you got to tell me what's going on with this. And that's where this shit gets crazy.
I thought Chase was younger than that.
Chase is younger than what?
Just and stuff. I thought he was like in his 20s, 30s.
I think he is. He has a son who's 17. So his son and him and his parents, Chase's parents, who are in their 60s, were all on the phone with me. So I said, Chase, tell me what's going on here. And he said, well, you need to look into Dylan Rounds' boyfriend. And that's when I said, aha, that's what I need. Now, you opened this show with a video that I asked you to play. It was one of the
All right, we're going to stop that there. So that's hearsay. It was done on an interview. Was it fact checked at all in what he just said? And I want to stop that one there for a reason. I do want to bring up a Darkness Exposed. Are you still in here? I'm sure she is. The PI that talk are hurting the investigation to truth. Hold on here 1 second, and then I'm going to bring up some facts of some stuff. All right, and this is the first time that I've seen this. I got sent this while I was live. I was not looking for it. This is very interesting. Whoever's doing this information for the family are good people. So here, we're going to break down a timeline here. There's a couple clips here. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. Oh, I'm going to play some more of another video here in a minute. I'm just getting this timeline down here. All right, so I don't have to show that anymore. We'll go back over here. We'll start with the first one here. So this is Dylan Rounds' timeline. He should know this if he is a man of credibility. Yeah. Checking convictions. He is well known to spread rumors and lies. He is a joke. No, I agree 100%. I just don't understand his whole point in exposing this stuff. So April 2022. So this is a timeline that's been released on some posters here. There's as much information that I have seen that's out there. A disagreement takes place between Dylan and Don, a family friend who helps out on the farm at times. Don was questioning Dylan's decision to work on a washing machine before a pump, and the result was Dylan and Don mutually decided to part company. Duty run interview 6/14. Wednesday, May 25th, Dylan tells his mother about a strange encounter with some guy who was barefoot and bloody along the roadside, who wanted to ride to Montello. Duty Ron interviewed 6/14/22. Thursday, May 26, Elko County Sheriff's Office verified that Dylan was in Montello via bank account usage. Press release on 6/9/2022. Friday, May 27th, eyewitness unconfirmed sighting of Dylan in Montello. Information relayed from the police to family, but with changing stories, cannot be reliable. What does it say? He said something the other day that pretty much told a potential suspect how to avoid LE and put out info that if a perp heard or would help them conceal evidence and make it harder for LE. That's my point here in what he's doing. I agree 100% with you. And it's sad. May 30th, Don and Jim have not been able to locate Dylan, so they let Grandma know. Grandma reaches out to JD, Dylan's best friend, to see if he had heard from him. 11 a.m., he had not heard from Dylan, so JD reached out to Dylan's mother to see if she had heard from him. She called around to other family members, and no one had spoken with him. Nancy Grace interview on 6/13/2022. Dylan's parents driven to the farm to see if they can figure out where Dylan is. A missing person report is filed by Candace with BASO, which is the sheriff's office, during the drive down. They arrived to find the seed truck had been put in the shed. Dylan's truck was at his trailer and it had been pressure washed. The seat position had been moved very far forward to accommodate a shorter person. And there were no tracks or footprints. Nancy Grace interview 6/13/2022. 90 minutes into the missing person report, a search of the area by BASO and SARS locates Dylan's boots tossed behind a pile of dirt 100 yards south from where the grain truck is located. BASO SARS search and rescue takes the boots and place them in their patrol vehicle. Boots would not be sent to the lab until a week later. Nancy Grace interview. Saturday, May 28th, 6:51 a.m. A phone call took place between Dylan and his grandma. He told his grandma he had to get his grain truck put away in the shop/shed at location 5 miles west of the farm to keep it away from the rain, and he would call her back. ECSO confirmed via cell phone data he was at or near farm in Lucin for this phone call. Nancy Grace interview 6/13/2022. 3:41 p.m. ECSO released the last cell phone data that came from Dylan's phone at or near his farm. Duty Ron interview 6/14/2022. 10 p.m. approximately 10 p.m. Chase Vestra seen on camera 200 miles away from Lucin. Candace and Sleuth Mom's interview on 6/13/2022. Dylan had not called his grandma back, so she called Don, a person who worked with Dylan on the farm, to check on him since he wasn't answering her phone calls. Nancy Grace interview on 6/13/2022. Don and Jim, farm helpers, go to Dylan's farm and look for him, but he is nowhere. Nancy Grace interview 6/13/2022. Tuesday, May 31st. Family received a call from a citizen of Montello, Kurt, who used to work for Dylan, that Dylan was being held at a specific location by Chase and another gentleman in Montello, Nevada. ECSO sent out 6 deputies, but he was not there, and they searched the entire property. Nancy Grace interview 6/13/2022. Search week number 1, 5:30 to 6:04. Searches in the area took place by BASO along with Weber County Fire and Rescue with helicopters, airplane, ATVs, horses, and the foot search parties and cadaver dogs. After 6 hours, BASO called off the search because they were 99% sure he wasn't in the 3 by 5 mile search area radius. 6/7 Fox News interview with Justin Rounds. 200 to 300 search volunteers of all types searching on the Utah side, including 5 private air searches until they ran out of fuel. Candace from Sleuth Mom on 6/13/2022 and Duty Ron at 6/14/2022. Diesel Brothers, and if you guys haven't checked out Diesel Brothers, his search, he did do his YouTube video on it. Those guys are the real deal, and they're good people. Searched with helicopters and took video footage of their tire tracks in the wash that later ended up being from a volunteer's truck who had been searching for Dylan. And that includes the timeline here. What I do want to do is, this is the ground we're talking about. So on Diesel Brothers, when you're looking at the one video that they did where they're up in the helicopter searching and stuff, like you can clearly see if something was out of place, if something was fresh, if somebody was not where they're supposed to be. All right, we are going to go back to this page here, where this is to discuss the clout chaser here. So we're going to go back to the family recordings. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to pull that up. Or we won't go to that. We'll go over here to Zav Girl first. And just let me, this is one that was done on 6/15. Yes, those were facts. Facts of the situation going on. All right. The link I dropped there, that is to Zav Girl. That link is Zav Girl. We're going to play just a little bit of her stuff. And kudos to, like, I watch both of these channels that I am playing videos from. And it's not them that I don't understand. It's the private investigator that I don't understand. I don't understand why it's so necessary for him to be putting out a lot of speculation instead of knowing the facts, like that fact sheet just put out. So I'd be curious if there are any abandoned mine shafts in the area. Yeah, I would be too. And I believe, so I was looking at there is some search video that's out there and some other videos on Twitter that do show, or some other photos on Twitter that do show a lot of information. So we're going to go back here to Zav Girl from the other day. I'm just going to hold on there 1 second. All right.
Somebody good.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I told everyone it's my fault, not yours, and you're the professional.
Well, listen, you were probably way too busy applying all the smoky eye to get the right link together in order to get you on the program today, guys. How are you ladies doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks, Ship's Cat. Good to see you. I'm really good. Looking good. How are you doing?
I'm maintaining in this land of haters. Boy, a lot of craziness going on out there, isn't it? I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. You wonder how all this stuff happens and on a daily basis, and then we keep being put together through these cases. So we've got another one here, and it involves a young boy who's 19 years old. And I just saw that news clip for the first time, which looks like it might be several days old. And let me tell you something. I understand things now more than I ever did after watching that news clip, because there is a whole lot of funniness that's gone on, a whole lot of miscommunication, and a whole lot of bad information out there about what's really going on. So obviously, if anybody's ever seen me on your show before, I'm not for everybody. I'm going to hit you straight. I'm going to shoot you straight about this case, okay? Because there's no reason to dilly-dally or sugarcoat it.
One second before I continue here with what he says. So the first recording that I played was from yesterday, from last night. This recording that he was up on Zavgirl was on 6:15. Why that's important is the press release that came out, or the statement from the family, an official statement from them, was done on 6:20 that they no longer work with him. And I don't know the series of events. I have reached out to Sleuth Mom to figure out when exactly he was let go, and if that was his motive for coming on to YouTube immediately, because after we hear Sleuth Mom's thing, is that why he came immediately to YouTube? Is because nobody would listen to him? He came out to YouTube first. I have a feeling that is the situation, but I won't. That question is being asked probably tonight on Sleuth Moms. I'm going to continue playing. I'll be right back here in a minute. But this is interesting because this was done. This was done on the 15th.
Anything. If it offends people, if it's not what they want to hear, this isn't 48 hours. It's not going to be edited. But I am here to answer any question from the people in your chat, any question that you have. No question is out of bounds, and I'll try my best to do whatever I can to explain what's going on with this young man. So I'll let you take it away.
Okay. I just started looking into this a few days ago. So let's see. So were you hired by his mom?
No. That's a little bit of the problem here. The parent nasty divorce a few years ago. It was a horrible divorce. The mother and the father would not take my phone calls. I was originally contacted once again by a media outlet. I had some success with a case up there similar, and they said, will you get a hold of these people? I tried to, and the father and the mother would not take my calls. The grandparents and one of the aunts are actually the ones that hired me. Technically, Dylan Rounds' grandmother and grandfather, they're the ones that bought him that farm. Are the ones that retain me.
Okay. Yep,
but I have dealt with all of them, and that's a major issue here, and we'll get into that. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah, the mom is making some rounds. I mean, she's all over, which, I mean, I think it could be a good thing, though. She's active.
It is. Can I be honest? It is if you know what the hell you're doing, okay? Let me put it in a way that maybe other people could understand this. What happens sometimes in missing persons cases is, and we've talked about this on your show, so I'll get off this real quick, but we got to go over this for the people that are just viewing this. I'm a private investigator out of Biloxi, Mississippi. I received an education in college to be a private investigator after a pro football career. I had to go through classes. I had to get fingerprinted. I had to open up a business license. I actually went back to school with my mom. She went to college with me to become a private investigator. I've had a business for over 7 years. I've understudied under people. What we're getting now is a lot of people that watch Investigation Discovery. They're true crime advocates. They're 501c3 people, and they think if they have a Facebook page or a YouTube channel, they're investigators, or that they know what they're doing when it comes to this thing. The mother is of that ilk. She has no idea what the hell she's doing. And being out there is a good thing if the direction you're leading people in is productive. And what I mean by that is, God bless this mother for being out there. That would be like me coming to your house and you saying, hey, my toilet's leaking and I'm the plumber. And I just start going around to every faucet you have and taking all the pipes apart. And I'm looking at your water tank and I'm outside digging up. That's what's been done here. If you have an issue, which is a missing person from a farm, you've got to go and see the days and the weeks leading up to his disappearance, maybe even the months, to really get an understanding of what happened. For example, these boots in the desert, with all due respect, the whole fucking farm is in the desert. No, it doesn't matter where those boots would be. They were less than a football field away. So they weren't way out in the desert. They were in an area where he would have taken them off when he got out of a tractor. So while that sounds sexy and it looks like it might be this major clue, there's boots in the desert. You put boots anywhere within miles of that house and they're in the desert. So while the mom has been an advocate and she's been out there getting press, she has actually used a lot of their resources and brought them right back to the same place they were in the beginning. And unfortunately, when she isn't, and that's a very good question, she didn't hire me. The grandparents did. So if the mother hasn't hired me, well, then she thinks she can do this because I've seen this on TV. I'm his mom. And 90% of the stuff that was in that news article was total garbage. It wasn't true. And I don't know how intentional that is. So I was retained by the grandparents, and what I found is quite interesting.
So, yeah. See, to me, so I don't know the story yet here. So I don't know when he was let go by the actual family. I wonder if he was let go by the actual family after the releasing of Zavgirl, because he is calm, kind of. Doesn't say much about it. I just don't understand his feelings of why he thinks that it's so important. Yeah, according to him, the mom is getting in his way. Everywhere he turns, he blames it on the family. Yes, I know he was let go yesterday, according to the family little thing where they spoke out on. But I'm curious if it was done earlier than yesterday. They just didn't release anything until then. We'll play just a little bit more of this, and then I'll go to the other.
I mean, so you think she's purposely trying to misguide everybody? I mean,
no, I don't think she's purposely doing it. I think she's so stubborn and hard-headed and wants to solve this. Some people would rather fail their way than succeed somebody else's. And this thing basically comes down to two men. The family had already been looking for this young man for about 5 days before they retained me. If you look back on that news article, it said that there was a man and he was bleeding and he came up to her son in a truck. His name was Chase. They even redacted, and I've spoken with him. He's currently in jail. But they even redacted his photo and everything. And the family for the first 3 to 5 days thought this guy, because they couldn't get a hold of him, had murdered their son, chopped him up, and buried him in the desert. It took me about 3 hours to figure out that we could cross him off the list. He was seen in a Little Caesars Pizza almost 3 hours away. I got the footage. I saw it. There is no way he had anything to do with that boy's disappearance. So for 3 to 5 days, the family put up a $20,000 reward for the young man, for Dylan Rounds, and a $5,000 reward up for a guy who wasn't even in the area for the 3 days prior to his disappearance. And to be quite honest with you, they really don't know when he disappeared. They don't know if it was the day that they're saying, the day before, the morning after. They have no idea when he went missing. Look at the area that he's in. The kid was sleeping in a camper on several acres. There's just not a whole lot of communication out there. He's 19 years old, and he had started that farm purchased by his grandparents when he was 17. He's been out there since he was a minor. And let me tell you guys something. Montello, I believe is how you say it, is an absolute shithole. I didn't know places like that in the United States still existed. It's a town of probably 200 people, and I can't imagine why anybody would do anything in that town, especially a 19-year-old young man. The family's really struggled with that lately, blaming whoever bought, the grandparents for buying the farm for him. The mom's over here, the dad's over here, the grandparents are over there, there's an aunt over here. So even though they've decided to
all right, we're gonna leave that one how it is. I just don't agree with some more of the stuff that he says in this. He repeats himself. I just wanted you guys to hear where he claims that the town is a shithole. In his words, a shithole. Not all people choose where they grow up and to stay around family. Like as a young kid, it just doesn't make sense. And I want to go over to this one is Sleuth Mom, and I'm going to speed it up in here because I think we kind of understand. And when I know I know I've listened to this one over and over and over again. This is the actual recordings to what actually was going on. Or he could be 100% factual. Here, let me post this one up here. And Sunshine, I'll check here in a second. Or he could be 100% factual and just a very brash because he isn't a man with a filter, in my opinion. I just do not know when things like this come out because it taints the case with twistable information, in my opinion. Yes, that is exactly why this is important. Because let's say, we'll put the big header up. I'm going to speculate for 2 seconds. This is in my opinion. So, facts are facts. I read facts a few minutes ago. The facts is you can look up people's backgrounds. You can look up, get the Little Caesars tape. You can do all that stuff. You can do your vetting. What's not facts is can he verify on paper that Dylan had a boyfriend? Can he put that on paper that these people are seen out in the desert being their own little police patrol? Can you put all that together? Like he thinks that he prides himself that he normally figures out a case and he normally figures it out in 8 days. Well, here I'm curious, how many days has he worked on this one? And I just don't understand his purpose. Let's say that one of these people have done something bad. Let's say something bad happened, bring it up, whatever. This is my little speculation. He is ruining the criminal investigation that came out on June 15th. It came from a missing person / criminal investigation. And I have that right here. Hold on here 1 second. All right, this is their press release, right? Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. You see this right here? Right here. Missing person / criminal investigation update. So that right there is facts. Is facts. It is now, in fact, that's on 6/15/2022. It is now a criminal investigation. So why do we deem that on the same day it's a criminal investigation? Why do we deem that we go onto YouTube and tell our theory that has no factual documentation, no factual information of what's going on? And you're basically, because police officers wouldn't listen to you as a private investigator, that's why you think it's okay to come to YouTube and put out the information? So what I want to know is if he was hired. So I know that Candace goes back and watches stuff. And Candace, this isn't geared towards you, but these are the questions that are very curious to me. And I'll play the other video of your guys' recordings with him. And I pride you on for doing that because it kind of clears up some of the picture of what he is pushing to you guys. And yes, there is a trigger warning on there. But Candace, here is the question. Did you guys pay this guy? He claims he sought you out for $0 amount. He wanted to come there and help, wanted to put his eyes on it, and then maybe there was payment later. If so, was there a contract drawn? If so, this is to help future people with missing people. This is where I'm going to get down into what is important. And I know that when when somebody goes missing, whether it's family, whether it's a friend, the hardest thing is there's nowhere ever to turn to get the right information on how the hell to do this and get a PI and everything and how to hold the integrity of a criminal investigation that they're calling it now. How does that keep intact when you have a PI that has no integrity at all and could give two shits what he puts out there, whether it's factual or speculation or any of it. And the biggest thing is was their contract signed? If so, it would be interesting for, you don't have to show it out there. It would be interesting for people to know if there was a contract signed or not. Also, I would like to see his documentation, signed witness statements, etc. If he is credible, he would be showing it and not talking about it. The other thing is he licensed in, they got to be in Utah, right? So this is going to Utah, Nevada, Nevada, and Idaho. There's 3 states here. Is he licensed in those 3 states? Or would we consider him as a PR guy? That's just some things, some thoughts I have. And does he have his own people? Is that why he wants to do all this? Is because he wants the fame, the glory, to tell his story and to put it out there? Checking convictions, I know, but somebody was questioning if he had his PI license. That's why I ask. We're going to go over to those things. Are all things that are needed in this case. Is when you do come out as a private investigator, there's certain things that you can say. There's certain things that you can't, especially when you're trying to do the right thing and help a family with a missing person. You don't come out onto the internet and give your speculation or your theory. Yeah, it's a theory, it's a hunch. All investigators have a hunch. They have to take a hunch and lead it to factual and non-factual information and get as close as they can to it. Without that, you have no case. So is he just a PI that goes out and speculates everywhere and doesn't come up with the answer, the solutions? How can he get written statements? How can he get information? You would think that these are all things that he would actually want to do. I'm going to play some of the recordings. It's a trigger warning, and this is what was released 23 hours ago. This premiered, and that was before he went on to that other live. When he went on to that other live, I think he wasn't defending himself. I think he was embarrassed because of what he was saying, and everything that they were checking out didn't lead up to what he was saying. So maybe that was the situation. There we go. Trigger warning. I'll be playing some of this. I know everybody probably watched majority of it. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play some of it. And then I'll put the link in the description here or in the chat as well. And this is the Sleuth Mom. And I did reach out to Sleuth Mom today to ask some questions. And then I got to check some messages I got coming in.
Shit.
Yeah.
Her and I got into a nasty fight on the phone. She defended everybody in the family. But Kurt and his other son, about 4 years ago, got into a knockdown, drag-out fight because he released that Kurt was gay to everybody. And he said that's the reason for his mom and his dad always having problems, because he would dress up as a woman. So all this weird shit. But it takes us away from that a little bit, which is good. It takes us away from the gay thing. But if your dad, your mom, or if you want to call your sister-in-law, now would be the time, and I'll just give it to you all in one shot.
Yeah, hang on. Let me patch Katie in. One moment.
By the way, do you know the name of the sheriff of Elko County?
It's weird name.
It sounds like a Mexican guy.
Yeah.
Garbanza
Yeah.
or something.
Yep. Okay.
Ever spoken to him?
No, hang on one second. I'm patching Katie in. I don't
You've reached Katie Wells. Leave me a message and I will get.
Hang on, she didn't answer.
Yeah, I can't get a hold of anybody in the family this morning.
I think everybody kind of well, my husband's here, so he can help me keep it all straight.
Okay, so here's what happened. And you'll see the bits and pieces of all these stories kind of mix in. So the gun, the pressure wash truck, the gate, it all comes together. So here's what's gone on. There's a sheriff named, let me get his name before I start.
I know that, yeah, the Elko sheriff. I looked him up yesterday.
Okay, well, he knows all about this. So, and by the way, Blower has still never called me back to talk to me about it. Now, he's spoken with other people. He won't call me back. Okay. So, guys, so here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Guy calls me last night. He's a real estate agent in town. I get a lot of goofy calls from crackheads and drug addicts and looky-loos. So here's what happens. This guy calls me last night. He says, listen, I don't know what it's going to help, but I want to help this family. He says, we got a lot of money. He goes, I have infrared goggles. I have night vision this. I have better stuff than the military has, and we use it for hunting out at night in those desert areas. He says, and I want to donate it to the family. So I put him in contact with your ex-husband. Tens of thousands of dollars worth of military equipment. This shit's unreal, almost like the Predator. So you can see people at night running around from miles up in the helicopter. And I says, well, who the fuck is running around in that desert at night between, 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning? Who the hell would do that? He didn't know, but it makes sense now. So he says what happened was him and his son and this group that they belong into a hunting club, would go out into those areas, all the areas where the boots have been found and where they found that one body and all those different areas that hunt coyotes. It's a hunting club. Mm-hmm. It's a competition. They stopped doing it in the last couple of months because they were getting accosted by people in the desert. He would take his sons hunting. His kids are only like teenagers or younger. And they would go out there. He says, we used to sleep under the stars in the back of the pickup truck. He goes, we against the mountain. We can't even do that anymore. He says, a couple of months ago, we were in the desert. And your ex-husband heard the story. And he says, we were doing our hunting. And in the middle of nowhere, a guy comes up to our truck. And he says, we were miles away from anywhere. And it's 3 a.m. And he says, we have lights and guns and food and water and everything. And this guy comes out of nowhere behind a rock. He says, and he scares the shit out of us. And he kept trying to get into our truck. He says, so what we did was we drive 100 yards, turn around, put our lights on him, and he would come after us. He said it was like the Terminator. And he says, far enough away from the guy, put our spotlight on him. And he stopped and he started talking to us. And we said, how long have you been out here? Do you need help? And he says, I've been out here for almost 3 months. What are you doing out here? So they kind of get into an argument. And he threatens to kill the family right then and there. But then he tells the family, and he says, we're going to call the cops. We'll get out here because they said there's no way he could have walked anywhere. He died. Mm-hmm. And he wouldn't take the help. And he kept trying to get into the back of the truck. Didn't seem like much at the time. Okay? But this guy was armed out there. So it didn't seem to mean much at the time. But he kept chasing his family, asked his family a lot of questions. It was odd. So because their kids were so fucking freaked out about this, his children and his wife was with him too. I guess she hunts. These people are all rednecks that they never went back. So he starts hearing about this story, the helicopters and everything. And he calls me. He tells me all this. Guy calls me this morning. And he is very good friends with Kirk's sister. There's one sister in Kirk's family that's estranged from all of them. She's the black sheep. She actually just recently got married to a Vietnam veteran. So she must be a little bit older. And she has a little bit of a drinking problem, but she does not associate with the family. He knows her very well because this guy that called me this morning, which is a totally different guy than last night, owns a lot of cattle ranchers and property out there. He's a somebody, okay? So basically the reason he called me is some of his ranch hands and some of the people that he's been dealing with, he starts telling me a story about being out in the desert in the middle of the night and people confronting them. So he goes on to tell me that Kirk and Kirk's brother, the pedophile, possibly Kirk's son, and some other little people, as well as your son, as well as Dylan, are in a militia group. What they were doing at night is they were getting in their trucks and patrolling the area to catch thieves. I think this is why the other boy that's missing out there, who almost looks like your son, I think they got him. I think that's why he's missing.
So you're saying Dylan was in a militia group?
Well, I'm using.
All right. Got to go. Thanks for covering this at Level Headed, and thanks Checking Convictions for recommending this on your post. The Mystery Maven ESQ, thank you for stopping by. I wanted to stop it right there for a second because I don't know. So I have a lot of questions based around this phone call that was released over at Sleuth Moms. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down some of the questions and see if they can get answered tonight on there by Candace. And I just, was this his initial thing, or this is what was leading up to him not being here anymore? Or, yeah, I mean, it is the desert. But anything can happen anywhere in the U.S. It doesn't have to be just because it's desert and not out there. I'm gonna play some more of this.
Using the word militia, club, vigilantes. The sheriff there calls them a vigilante group. I call them a militia group, vigilantes. Let's just say that.
Okay.
So basically what happened was the wasn't coming back to his trip. Now, I'm going to wrap this all around, so just hear me out.
Okay.
Okay? The gun wasn't there. The gun comes back. The truck wasn't there. The truck comes back licked clean. Okay? The boots are in a different area, which I don't believe the blood on that boots is your son's. What this guy told me is they were out in the desert patrolling. The sheriff was made aware of this by a lot of people. The guy that called me last night was accosted by one of the guys in this group. The guy on the desert wasn't homeless. He was protecting his section and looking for people out in the middle of the desert. They were dropping people off. So let's say me, you, your husband on the phone right now, and 10 of our buddies are all out there. We're going to catch these people, which is why they hate Chase so much, which is because Chase was robbing these people. They were trying to catch Chase's. And where does Chase end up? Where did your son pick Chase up?
On Tacoma Road.
What time of the day was that?
In the morning.
And Chase was out there in the middle of nowhere, right?
I mean, he was close to town.
Right. So your son caught him. He caught him.
Well, he did.
And he got him the fuck out of there because he knew they were going to kill him.
Okay.
That group was going to kill him. Your son did him a favor and got him the fuck out of town. Chase has left that.
All right, let's go back to facts here. Let's back this up for a second. Where did this fact come from? So here's the fact right here. On Saturday, May 28th at 10 p.m. approximately, Chase Vestra seen on camera 200 miles away from Lucid. So, on camera. So we'll go back up to facts here. And this may be explain why people are disappearing. Sorry, I'm back. I had to step away for a few minutes. This is weird. Why is he yelling at her? Yes, Divinity, and welcome in. This is very weird. This is how he was speaking to the family. And I find it very interesting. We'll continue on here.
That out of this. Why are these people all running around in the middle of the desert with no food, no water in the middle of the night if it's not to rob? What happened was Chase got stuck and your son got him out of there. Is basically what happened before the rest of the guys. Your son had a section of land that he was looking for because he had a truck. Everybody's got a section. The guys aren't all in one truck together. They're able to communicate and move around and do all this whole area and kind of police it for theft. I don't know if your son ever had any theft on his property, but it seems like everybody else that I've talked to has. It's been wild out there. People are stealing left and right from each other. So I think that's where he comes upon Chase. And he gets Chase the fuck out of there. The reason he didn't tell you he got him in the car and everything is because you probably didn't know that this section of it existed. So what happened was, it's hard to make sense, but if you kind of make sense of it, these people are all out there patrolling at night. There's a school teacher at a local school there that called the sheriff and knew about this. Now, she's a math teacher, and she basically called the sheriff, and people started making the sheriff aware, not because they didn't like these guys, but there's people out in the middle of the desert hunting. There's people out in the middle of the desert doing work. Maybe they got property. Maybe they're camping. And they got these fucking loons who, by the way, are all liquored up. They're all drunk, which is why people are finding beer cans and alcohol out there, watermelon, soda. That's why you're finding this shit out there. It wasn't planted out there. They were always out there fucking looking for people stealing. That stuff was out there not because it was placed in rubber. It probably was out there because it was one of the areas your son was patrolling with these fucking morons. So what happens is good people are out there, like the real estate agent the night before, the guy that I talked to this morning, and now they're fucking afraid to go out at night. Their kids can't go four-wheeling when it gets, because Kirk's got this band of fucking goons with your son out there. So what happens is they're out.
All right. And that is where I'm going to stop with that video. The rest of that video is over at Sleuth Moms, which I dropped her link in chat. I'll do it one more time here. And then what I want to do is we'll have a little thinking panel. Anybody that wants to come up and say anything. I want to keep it to non-speculation, but we can speculate why non-speculation happened to Dylan. I don't want to speculate on that. What I want to do is understand why this guy thought it was the right thing to do to come to internet with all this information instead of letting FBI search and rescue, the county sheriffs. Why was it so important to come to the internet with it? I will remove this, put Sleuth Mom's thing up here real quick. So Sleuth Mom has been doing a very, very good job on everything that she's putting out there. Responded to me. I am friends. Anything? Hold on here 1 second. It's redirecting me to something else. So hold on here. In the meantime, I'm going to drop the link for anybody that wants to come up here and speak. There's the StreamYard link. We'll pin that to the top here. So there's that. And then let me get Sleuth Mom's thing. So anybody that hasn't listened to that can listen to it. That's the link to Sleuth Mom's video that we just were listening to. All right, checking. I'm going to add you in, okay?
Yep.
All right, you're on screen.
Okay. I just want to speak about his credibility and the secrets of an investigation that are like really super important. If you're in a PI who's doing good, whatever you find, no matter if they fired you or you quit or anything like that, you will take your information documentable, like signed affidavits to witnesses, phone calls that are recorded, dates that are put down. You know, the whole investigation should be from beginning to end. He should have credible documentation for what he says. And if he's going to, you know, be a good investigator, he would bring it to the courts. I mean, you know, to the law. I mean, he would bring it straight to the law. And then if you want to talk about it, then, you know, that's just deleting your credibility because you don't speak about it in a case, in an ongoing case, in my opinion.
Did you hear that whole thing on sleuth bombs?
Yeah, yes, I did.
And I saw you were in on the other one while I was watching it earlier today.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear him talk. Yes. I didn't want to jump to any kind of right away to the worst, you know. I just wanted to hear what he had to say, right?
So here's my concern.
Because it already started comfort, you know, it already started speculation in the case.
Well, he got
by that chat.
Oh yeah. But my well, it already started over on Zab Girls. Empress, you can turn off your camera. I'll add you here. So my biggest thing, and you're muted, Empress, just so you know. My biggest thing was what did the family tell him to be? So I listened to all the recordings that they had. So eventually he was trying to tell the police this whole theory that he had, and then the police weren't listening to him, and they thought that he was like not crazy is not the right word. They thought that he was far out there, and that it didn't make sense to what he was doing. So they let him go. Is there a contractual agreement? Is a great question that I have. And
well, you know, when he said that you can't fire somebody you already paid for, I don't think so. I think they paid for what they're going to get is probably his, you know, his contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just I'll give you all the information I can. Well, if nobody wants to hear that information, maybe there's just no credible documentation of that information. Because I'm sorry, you're talking about somebody's real life going on here. You can't just go around making accusations and putting your little twist on crap because that's not the truth. You're not going to get a strong, complete, you know, credible conviction if you get justice. If you get justice talking about it like this. He put a lot of word salad in about a lot of stuff that didn't even need to be out. Who cares about their divorce? Sorry, unless it has anything to do with directly with the boy leaving or being gone or taken or whatever, it shouldn't even be spoke on.
I agree. Go ahead, Empress.
I'm very, very strong about this kind of interference that I see in cases. This was out less than 24 hours and you go to one chat, you know, not even an hour later after listening to it, and you hear the worst bullshit ever. You know, people are making up crap and saying this and that and twisting what they hear because they're all trying to drive some sort of narrative that doesn't fit. And that just destroys cases. I've seen it go from finding to, you know, trying to figure out, you know, this guy, you know. I wouldn't take him for what his word is. Where's his credible documentation?
My experience with him, I hired him to look for her, and I don't have a good relationship. I call her my birth mother, who I have not seen since 1999.
Okay, I can't hear you.
And he was able to track her down through deceit. So he offered me supporting documentation, basically his files. So
was he credible?
I believe so. I didn't ask him for the documentation information that he gave me about, because he had to, the last time that she was on paper is 2016. He was able to track her through 2018. Everything that he told me about her movements and the people that she was encountering is in line with the person that raised me. It's in line with her behavior. So, I guess to me, listening to what he's saying, I was like, yeah, that's her behavior. That's the kind of behavior that she would, do when I was growing up. So, but he was willing to provide all of his notes. He still has his notes. He said that he would provide them to me anytime if I wanted to have her declared deceased. Because, there's an account that she's been getting, support into. And, I wanted to try to get that money back to help pay for my dad to go into assisted living. Unfortunately, my dad, died in the middle of that process. So I guess I'll just let the money sit there until whenever. But it was the police department is where we ran into. The police department is where we ran into a brick wall. And I was really surprised by that because, Columbus police, I live in Ohio. So Columbus, Ohio police, they were so willing to work with him. I think it was Michaela Johnson or something like that. But Columbus police, they were willing to work with him. And I was surprised that, San Diego wasn't,
Well,
I think they were.
Maybe there's truth to some of the conspiracy. I mean, we really don't have no documentation to say what he could be saying is true, but I don't find him credible if he can't produce something that would state what he is saying. He had to have witnesses sign state. I mean, any credible person trying to investigate would have witnesses sign affidavits, things like that. Have court papers, legal documentation is all I'm going to see, or all I'm ever going to accept, because I deal with wrongful convictions. I deal with the speculated that go to prison.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think that in that interview that he had with Levitt presented, do you think he should have presented all of that documentation?
Well, yes, I do. If he had words for it, he should have presented it at the time of speaking about it.
Okay.
If he's going to come out, because as far as I'm concerned, he's not credible. Why would you come out to YouTube? You should be going to the police and shutting your lips. That's what a credible person does. I don't see any cops, investigators coming out here and just talking on YouTube and then handing them, evidence. But you sound like a crackpot to me.
Yeah, I'm not going to say
he might be credible,
but he has an abrasive personality. And he just says whatever's on his mind.
That don't bother me. I'm braced too. I'm, brass, and I don't know what it is. It's not that. It's you're just not credible if you can't produce documentation. And some of the stuff was a bunch of word salad that didn't even need to be brought into the case, which just brings speculation against the family, which just interferes with a true investigation. Now, this is all my opinion, but that's what I find acceptable for me as a person who does research and does, fact check and all this, and don't believe in putting out certain things to the public because it really does damage a case. You have to learn the whole process of the court to even understand that, and a lot of people don't.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I can only guess as to what his motivation is. But when I worked with Mr. Terry, he said that I can have my file anytime I want it, and he'll give me my file of all of his work, and then provide a written affidavit for California, so I can have her declared deceased because nobody can find her. But San Diego they were notably irked with me for contacting a private investigator before contacting them.
Yep, I agree with you. They get that way. Some certain police departments don't want somebody nosing on their investigation at all. You know what I mean? They just won't have it. I don't care if you were Perry Mason or whoever you want to think is a great PI. You know what I mean? They just don't want it. They don't want nobody interfering, including surrounding counties. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they can be like that about it. So I get that. And I totally agree with you, Arctic. We can't get mad at this guy all we want. We can get mad at this guy all we want, but why did Dylan's mom feel it necessary to go to a channel and air the phone call? In my opinion, it's just added fuel to the shit story.
Yep.
I agree. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. That's why I think, like what Liv had said, who was the first to do it? Was it him or was it her?
Right.
That
Yeah.
matters. That
Well,
matters.
and I
That's-
guess
That's my point. Is if the stuff is factual and he like did everything correctly, he should have came out with it. But
Yeah.
it's a criminal investigation. So why
Right.
is he even coming to YouTube
Yeah, he shouldn't be.
to talk about it?
Yeah,
He
I
should have
agree.
handed it over to the police whether they wanted it or not, and then kept his mouth shut until something was figured out.
Amen. Yes, I agree.
That's
1000%.
my only point by this whole thing. I'm not saying that he's not credible.
Right.
It's just you just don't go. She was doing a good job putting the awareness out there, getting the attention that it was needed for the police to do their jobs,
Yeah.
which shouldn't have had to happen in the first place, but it had to happen. She got EquiSearch involved. She was
Yeah.
doing all the right steps, but why take investigative information and bring it to YouTube?
Because some people really believe you'll get help here. They have no idea. They think of it as a social media like
As a tool.
TikTok, and you know what I mean? And they're really thinking it's going to get out, and it could. Okay, if every one of us creators were responsible enough to just put out facts and
Right.
not speculate on a case, like what you're doing is you put this guy out who you're questioning. That's fine because he's involved in it. That's cool, but you're not tainting the facts that you put out, because you put out the facts right there, and that timeline from Ellie, to me, that's factual. Okay, what this guy's doing, I don't know if it's a get back at the family or if she did it first and he's on here defending his name. I don't know that situation because I don't know who put it out first. That would make a big difference to me.
Yeah,
Well,
and
the
I
one-
think that it would be
the one-
valuable to.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it would be valuable to look at, maybe compare what information that he has released on, because there's been several other, high profile cases that he's done. And one of them, he got some extra evidence for, I think the boy's name was Jed something, I forget what. But, he got more information and more evidence for law enforcement. And I'm pretty sure that he did talk about that, about the additional information that he got. So,
Well, Sunshine, I got a problem with that because it didn't stop rumors. It created rumors.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
So I was looking at the timeline of things. So he went on, I don't know if he was on another panel before he went to Zav Girl. So he went to Zav Girl. That was a live done on the 15th. That recording was put out there because I think if he's going to go put out something, this is just my logical thinking here. If he's going to go put out something onto a YouTube channel that is not factual based yet or hasn't been proven, then she wanted to recordings where the police, well, as you listen to that recording and listen to the whole thing, the police were not listening to him anymore. So she put that out stating that that's why they had to separate their own ways. But maybe he strongly believes that this is what really happened and he wanted people to know. But at the thing, you have to give it to law enforcement on paper, and whether or not you serve it to them or however you want to do it, like
there's a process, right?
Whatever, there's a process away.
Yep.
So that you're protected instead of coming to the internet and just putting it out there. Because now if something really did happen bad to him, that it's now the people that are involved that he's spoken to know, of course, they're watching YouTube.
Yep. Well, they're watching anything about it, right?
Yeah, anything they can get their hands
I
on.
mean, they
and-
can Google it, right? And they'll come to
Yeah.
this. So that's like the mystery girl said in here. He just warned any possible suspects to get rid of evidence or hide or whatever. Come up
Well,
with
he
a
just-
fucking alibi. Who knows?
He just told them everything that he has figured out and has
Yeah.
like already tried to give to the police, which that should have never came out publicly. Okay, yes, as soon as they make an arrest or something, or once somebody is convicted and tried, everything can come out how he found that out. And
Yep.
there's plenty of people out here that would love
And I
use
know how to
that
do it.
onto their
Once-
channel. That
Right.
these are the steps. Yeah.
Right. Once there's a case done, that's the best time. FOIA is your best friend, man. You know what I'm saying? And you get it from beginning to end. The real truth, legal, documented, court, approved, whatever you want to say about the whole case. And you can decipher it any way you like after that. You know what I'm saying? But, you can find out things definitely if you're wrongfully convicted. But in order to get a strong convicted of the right person, none of this kind of information should be released. I know I have the want to know. Everybody does, especially if it's a missing person. But you know what? The best investigation, and you can really be credible, and they can be really credible about it, is the ones that are silent. Okay? Until they have all they need to come out. They'll give you just as much as they want you to know to please you. They're not hiding anything. They're gathering for a strong conviction. That's what they're doing. They're gathering for the truth, and it takes time.
Isn't it all possible that he didn't tell everything that he knows?
Oh, I'm sure. Could be. But it sounds like he knows quite a bit of weird, I don't know. But even the mother said, I can't explain to you what it is like out here and what all that is and how these people are. You have to see for yourself. She said that on tape. So I mean, maybe it is stranger. We don't know. But I still don't think it should have been brought out. I mean, come on, the guy's a PI. If he's collecting legal documentation to try to help an investigation, not working for the other side trying to hide it, then he's going to take all that and bring it to the cops and shut his lips. Be done. Be silent. You don't need to be seen. It's not about you.
I think that's fair enough. I do think that's fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's probably very, very good at what he does.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying this is not the right way to handle this. What he was doing is not the right way to handle it. And I'm sure he knows that. Honestly, if he is credible, I'm sure he knows that.
Obviously, he didn't get the clue on the first one that he did. They released the actual recordings. Then he went on to another panel to talk about it again.
Yeah, see, that's just not right.
Well, I just don't understand with his phone number in there too. I don't know the reasoning behind that. I get it that he probably has a business, but he's losing credibility in my eyes of the way that he's handling this. And other people, he's probably very, very good at what he does. And other people could probably very well benefit from his services. It's it's not the way for him to do this. The family would have never released any of those tapes if he hadn't gone on and started talking onto a YouTube.
Right. You know what? I totally agree, because let's put it this way. He said he helps in the missing celebrities and, things like that. And helps you find family members or whatever, whatever his thing was in the beginning. Well, is obviously he didn't handle your case this way by going on YouTube and talking about yours, right, Empress? No way. So what would make him want to do that here when it's a ongoing criminal case or possible criminal case? Okay.
If he could talk about my case, just because it was so bizarre, but that's, how my birth mother is. She's bizarre.
But he would ask your permission, I'm sure, right? That would be the professional way to do it.
He did ask for my permission.
Oh, okay. So he's talked about your case publicly.
I don't know. I'm sorry about my dogs. They're just being assholes.
You're fine.
Yeah.
But yes, he did ask for permission to talk about some of the things that went on, with trying to find my birth mother, because it was just bizarre. And it did. I think I finally called off the dogs after, 3 weeks, because he was having, just because of my own family dynamics and stuff like that. Because, nobody's had contact with her. I think the last person, my half brother, gave up on her in like 2006 or something like that. So, we know that she wouldn't have any identifying information or anybody to be contacted, just because we know she's been arrested a lot, just, they never press charges or whatever, and they never follow through. So she probably doesn't have fingerprints and stuff like that. So we know that, nobody would have been able to notify us of her, passing. So, right. But she's just too old and in too bad of health, and nobody can find her. So, but yeah, he did ask for permission, just because everything just went so bizarre, and it was just bizarre because it's like this very broken family and nobody's talking to anybody. And
well, I'm glad he was of help to you, but maybe like Will said, he might be a great person. I'm not really trying to down his profession or what he's doing, but in an ongoing case, he should know that that's going to hurt. But also came to my head was maybe because the law enforcement wasn't listening to him, he wanted somebody else to know this. And put out his facts. So maybe somebody like, I don't know who's FBI, other state that's nearby, something might get a wind of it. And
do I have your attention?
Listen to him, right? Maybe then, but I still don't see putting out anything without any documentation. And it shouldn't be on YouTube. I get the whole, you might get the word out. That's why a lot of people are coming to YouTube. But there are certain creators that will destroy and take this and make the biggest 5-month series ever. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, that's problematic. I see what you're saying. So it's like, I was kind of like, oh, he did a good job for me. It's kind of, but I see what you're saying now. So I'm glad I came up.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too, because at least we know that he does do good work, right? I mean,
I think that he did really, really good work in this case too.
And then, he also, and then he found some patients that had kind of fallen off the grid that we couldn't find, that were, at one time, they were very close family friends, and we were able to notify them, provide, let them know that my dad had passed, and so that they were able to come to his funeral. So he was able to do that. He was actually able to find.
Well, that he's good at finding. Obviously.
He was very good. He found a old friend, a childhood friend, and this guy, he's not even on LinkedIn. He's not on Facebook. He's not on anything. It turns out he's a cameraman for ESPN, and he found him.
Wow.
Yeah, so we could, let him know to.
I mean, I guess we'll never really know his reasoning for coming out, because neither one of them are going to sit down together where you can ask them both the same, questions at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of wonder if he didn't just offend the family, because he's pretty coarse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, if there was,
he doesn't have a people filter.
Oh my God, no. There was some things that he said. I would just sit there and be like, and cringe. So
there are, cases of, look at, what's that cop that comes on and talks about the people, Gordy?
Okay.
Yeah. Or Grady or whatever his name is.
I'm not sure.
He's pretty, right out, and these guys are scumbag. Bags, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But some people can take that, some people can't.
Right. Yeah. And some of the stuff that he would tell me about what was going on with my birth mother, I was just like, there were certain points where I was like, I don't know how much more of this I can do.
Yeah. If he digs that deep, yeah. Well, I'm glad he was good for you, and I'm not saying he's bad, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm sure
I see what you're saying. There was a gray area where I was having a hard time seeing what you were saying. But I'm glad we had this conversation, because it kind of gives me a better idea of what folks were, kind of saying. Because I'm like, but he did really good work for me,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, like I said, I watched it I listened, and then I went to another one where, he was at, and it was like, you guys are already judging. Please don't judge. Have an open mind. Let him speak. I understand there's a lot of questions, but I just couldn't believe some of the comments of people and the speculation, and just from hearing a phone call. And then I went to another chat later on, and that was even worse. So I had to go chill out. I went to another chat where I chill out. So
yeah, go over and chill out.
It's the telephone game that goes real bad real quick. Like within a minute, you got 50,000 different things, people saying bad and good,
Yeah, there was a few things that I ran into. People said about him, and I looked it up. I'm like, that's not even true.
They weren't even just saying that about him. I seen some comments about the family, and I'm like, what? That's something you don't want. You don't want it to turn into a 50 million clown cars overcrowded with what happened to Summerwells. It's just not, oh my gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up a good example of the private investigator that was working with Don and Candace. That guy wouldn't even let people that would come up to the hill like Cam and Allie to even speak about certain things, because it was going to law enforcement. Whether law enforcement believed the footprints or not, they weren't allowed to talk about it.
Right.
Because it was part of the investigation. It has now since been searched. So then they started talking more about it. But that's a prime example of what this guy should have did. He should have kept his mouth shut until certain things were crossed off and checked off by the police, and still been involved even if they weren't paying him.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree.
I think they would have actually eventually worked with him.
Yeah. They might have had to say, look, because, I get where the mother was saying, don't tell me them are my son's fingernails. Okay. She don't want to hear that. Okay. That's painful for her. And as soon as I heard that, I went, oh yeah, what the hell? She's asking you to stop. And then he got pretty brass. Okay. Now that is something, maybe he has anger management or something, but come on, you're dealing with families of a very, emotional, confusing, probably the worst pain that a parent can go through, I would imagine. So you have to be gentle in what you say, and at least how you present it. And he maybe needs to learn that, because it might have been the straw that broke the camel's back, the way he talked to her about that. That was very sensitive information, and was put out like, fuck you. I'm sorry. That's the only word I could come up with it. I'm sorry.
You're okay. That's the perfect word for it.
He's a little bit of a bull in the china shop. So
I think that was way too much.
Oh yeah.
It hurt my heart, to hear the mother say that, because see, I look at the case, not my opinion so much as my experience of seeing. Okay. That's what I'm speaking on. I see a lot in wrongful convictions, and it does fit over here, because you're talking about an open case, and I am 1,000% on when I say what you do in the very beginning of an investigation affects it completely to the end for justice and the right person being charged.
Yeah, that was the point I was trying to make by showing what he was doing, because I don't think that I think that if he watches this video, and watches all the way through to the end, and what has transpired, whether the cops listen to him or not.
Yep.
The thing is he shouldn't have said anything, because maybe they weren't listening to him because maybe they already knew this all already.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have to wait for a reply to them. He should
Yeah.
just be delivering them paperwork,
Yeah.
documentation in the mail. You don't even have to go in there and speak with them. That phone call crap is bullshit. If you're an investigator, you have something to turn in, even as a citizen. Let me tell you, as a citizen, if you find documentation or proof, picture, whatever it is, you can turn it in by mail or email to somebody. You do not have to speak to them. You do not have to be seen. You do not have to matter.
Well, now what about, okay, so let's roll that back. And we're going to go, I would like to roll that back to the, what is it, cracking cases experience with TBI and Hawkins County, you know, taking, I think, what was it? They said, you know, that they would take upwards of 3 days to come out and, you know, collect evidence. And I understand that they're very understaffed. I understand.
I could help you. I already know a question you're going to ask, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's something that none of us have in that case, and that is cell phone data, vehicle data, and the truth.
No digital data whatsoever.
Yeah, and they have all that.
We do have truth. Yes, we do. The truth is Summer is missing. You know,
yeah, I think
that's it.
I think some of that information, when people would turn stuff in, I think they already have a lot of evidence.
Oh yeah.
Already.
Oh, okay.
But
So
see,
they're
that's
thinking
what I mean.
out
So
there.
like when it takes them longer to, it's not gonna, on the evidence that they have already, it's not going to help or benefit it. They still need to check it out and do their due diligence. But if it was something of emergency, they'd be out there right away.
And guess what? It there goes to show you that a silent from the legal side is an investigation they're taking seriously, or they'd be on here blasting it to YouTube or to the news crews every day. Okay, everything they found, we don't know, but I can tell you what, they don't come out and say. That means they're doing their job. As far as I'm concerned, doesn't mean they're lacking. Means that they're keeping quiet because there's too much said in this in Summer Wells' investigation for them to be able to come out. Somebody will take whatever they think might be fact and turn it into fact. Look at it. Just wait till they come out and talk.
Does that make sense, Empress Nero?
Yeah, it does. It was just kind of like, I felt like it was like kind of like a valid observation on cracking cases that, you know, it takes them 3 days to come out and collect evidence. But at the same time, it's also, now that you explain it, also kind of like, oh, you know, they're kind of showing their hand as well. But,
yeah.
You know.
But what do you think about that warrant paper being, you know, when you get a warrant served to your house for search for something, and they write down what they took. They have to, it's legal, and they give it to you. Okay. And that was released. Now that is something that should never, ever seen the public eye. That hurt that case so bad, you have no idea.
Didn't Candace release that?
No.
No, a YouTuber did.
A YouTuber. I'm not going to state their name.
Even if Candace gave it to YouTubers to put out there,
it should never.
As like your own personal morals should not have that out there.
Especially
let somebody else be the person to do it.
And then all that speculation that came against that young underaged minor.
Yeah, all the stuff with the boys is very
wrong. No moral compass, all for yourself. That's what that
is. It's getting more and more worrisome.
That's why I hope that, you know, this is what you hope not to hear, right, Level? We don't want to hear a PA coming out and saying this shit.
Yeah.
You don't. I don't care if he's right or wrong or whatever. You don't. As far as I'm concerned, a person who covers these cases does not want to hear that. Okay? Because I know what it does in this environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a breeding ground for rumors.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, you know, it started, I mean, it's like it started pretty early on. What was that? October when that first set of papers were, that, supposed report was released. I mean,
yeah, there's been too many clown cars overfilled.
yeah, I dismissed it. I didn't think it was real because it was just so, I don't know.
So blatantly out there.
Well, it's like it was kind of like it was written to exactly what everybody was complaining about. So, if you go back and you look at it and you're like,
we have to look who's steering the narrative before it comes out. That's where that counts.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, yeah. So whatever. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Well, I do think, and I'm not discrediting Cam and Allie. I mean, everything, maybe those slightest little thing in a clue or something. Like, we don't know what the investigators know. They're not saying, but it's not discrediting them. They should still turn in stuff. They're local there, and definitely what they're doing is good stuff, and they should continue to do it. And I'm by no means I'm saying that, hey, they shouldn't turn. That's why it took so long. No, maybe they were on to a bigger hunch or to a bigger part of it and had to come back to that was lower on the totem pole. And
let's put it this way: if you're putting out facts, I don't care how you do it. And I don't know Cam and Allie, and I've only watched them a couple times. I don't have an opinion because I've stepped away from the Summer Wells case because it's a shit show. Sorry. And I care about the little girl, but sorry, I'm not involved in that community, so I'm not there. But some creators that are for the good would hold that stuff back because they don't feel it necessary for the public and it could harm, no matter who it is saying it or stating it, be it the family or, a creator needs to be responsible for what they put out, and they don't need to look for that day who's going to be interested in it. They need to look in the whole of the case.
Yeah.
That's at least my opinion.
Yeah. Summer Wells is the first, I'll be honest, it's the first case that I've ever followed in this community, like a live real time.
I'm sorry. Because honestly, it gives you a bad taste. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry because it gives you a bad taste.
I'm just fascinated with the creators and all the players and just all the psychology of it. So it's just,
trying to
that's what I'm
trying to unscrew the screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, hence the name Nero. I'm just waiting for everything. You're just waiting for Rome to burn. So,
well, I'd rather not be in the implosion. I'd rather be in the not even the cleanup. It's the buildup. You know what I mean? I don't. I'm not here to solve a case. I'm here to help bring awareness to their faces, the facts of what happened, any updates of legal factual information, not hearsay, not screenshots, not somebody told me this to somebody told me that. I'm sorry, I just don't work that way. That's fine if you want to. I don't put you down. I don't. But if you're harming the case, I just want nothing to do with it.
Well, it's like the content, like as a creator,
right?
I like Zav Girl, and I like Sleuth Mom, and I like Monkey Mar. There's nothing against them. This guy was he's probably approached 7.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And I don't have nothing against them.
Nothing against them. They just I don't think sometimes when you get like a PI into a thing, maybe they were told or thought or imagined that somebody as like an investigator would already, all that stuff would be checked out before it comes out, and maybe giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? But
wouldn't you as a creator though say, okay, so you're stating this, but okay, do you have documents? Can we see that? Can we screen share that?
I've been dealing with some stuff behind the scenes in Summer Wells' case.
If you don't find it, if you find it credible, you bring it to TBI. You're not going to air it. Some things don't need to be aired, right?
Yeah, I bring it to. So I have not dealt specifically myself with them. When the information comes in from XYZ, I take it to somebody else that is highly involved into the case that understands what's already been turned in, what's already been filtered through them. It's just it's a better practice for me to
vent and a vet. They vet and vet, you know what I mean? Is a double check-in. And that's excellent. And that's the way things should be handled. Honesty, you know what I mean? You need to be able to fact check, and double fact check all that shit before, even finding out that it should be aired or it should be turned in, or because that's important. You're in a real live investigation.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump down.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys have a good evening.
Hopefully we made you see a different perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I don't always consider, and I find it, educational to kind of talk a little bit more about that stuff. I'm one of those people.
You're
I just
a want to
random
know why.
information.
You're a want to know why. The smallest, biggest word in the world.
Oh yeah. Why?
Why?
I was probably a terrible child to raise. Why?
That was me. Why? Well, now
Yeah.
I find out why.
Yeah. So, all right. You guys have a good evening. Thank you.
You too.
You're welcome. Yeah, that was a good conversation because now people understand the thinking process and why I do lives like this, kind of, because
great live.
It's not to point. Well, it's not to point fingers at.
No. It's to try to figure out what is the purpose.
Well, yeah. What I see from his backlash as of going onto a panel last night and like going more over who he is and what he is, he's probably a very, very good investigator.
Yeah.
He probably is.
I want to know what panel you're on so I can go watch it because I gotta, I had to go relax somewhere else.
Well, this is just a good example of credibility. I mean, I just don't understand what his purpose is or thought behind it. And maybe his purpose is that the police aren't helping, and maybe he's been shut out of it now because the police are helping.
Right.
That might be as simple as that.
Let's just put this out there. You want to question it right now, nip it in the butt, and be moved on to it and not let it affect the case, which I think is the best thing to do. Okay. Because it is out there in the airwaves and it is being talked about and it is getting false information already. Okay. So to put out what you show as facts, documental facts right there in your face, from LE, that's what's needed. And then you discuss why this guy, you're not putting him down. You're not assuming he's doing this for evil reasons. That's not what we're doing. We're just saying, in our opinion, a good investigation is kept to the chest, handed over to LE, and be done. That's just how it should be.
I don't know. The family was having problems at the beginning, and once EquiSearch got involved, she got a lot more push from police officers that are retired police officers here on YouTube. So like EquiSearch is like a great thing if you could get them involved in your case and get the backing of other law enforcement that understand what goes on. And hats off to Duty Ron. He is a human being, and he has no idea what he's probably done for this family to help them to get law enforcement to see things more clearer. And
through the eyes of the law.
Yeah, spreading the awareness of getting the right things. Am I not saying that a PI is not a good thing to have? Yeah, probably a lot of times in cases, PIs are good to have.
I believe in them, but I believe in ones that are going to have documentation from the first start and all the way through, because you talk to a lot of people to find out you make a lot of phone calls. I want to know your sources. I want to see them, and I want to know that that's credible, because anybody can sit there at the behind their desk and write a good story. You might be a great book writer and not a good investigator. You know what I'm saying? So to me, you need to show documentation, and that does not need to be seen by my eyes. I might be curious as the next person and want to know. But no, I think proper way is to pass it to the law, whether they want to hear it or not. Like you said, mail it. You don't have to walk in, mail it.
Yeah.
And be done.
Yeah. Because here you're going to have another one where a jury pool is tainted now.
Oh, already. Yeah.
If something bad happens,
yeah.
and it's like, how you can't go back and fix it. It's already done.
You know how you squash a rumor? You don't repeat it.
Yeah.
You don't answer to it. You don't defend it.
Yeah.
You be quiet. Like if the mother was pissed and he shouldn't have defended it. If he was pissed, she shouldn't have. Whatever which way it worked. That's how you stop it. That's how you stop rumors. You give it no credibility whatsoever.
Yeah. I just she was pleading for help early on in the thing, and
I'm glad she's getting it from proper
she's
people.
getting it
like
now.
you said.
So
Yep.
that's a great
That's
thing.
something I don't understand. Maybe you can clear up. She didn't get help from her local, or what is considered local there. They didn't consider it as a value. They didn't investigate. I know I heard her story about how they treated the vehicle from being washed and all that stuff, and how they let her smash the window in to get into it, which I think is really bad. Don't you think they should have done fingerprints?
I think. Oh, I want us to just say hi to Brandy. Hello, Brandy, and thank you.
Hi, Brandy. Hope you're having a good day.
Well, so like now that I've like really started to dig into this. I watched a lot of videos last night. Obviously, I took a break. We were at the same place last night because sometimes that's like my safe place, and I just don't even want to tell people about it.
That's why I'm not saying it. That's mine too.
It just takes my mind. I watch all these cases and stuff, and then like information just so that I can prepare to do a live, so I know what I'm talking about. And it's just like that's my relaxation to calm my mind before I go to sleep. And
listen,
fresh air. And without them,
you are one. You are one. You are one.
Right.
Right. I know what you're talking about. And I won't say that neither because it is a safe place. And this does get to you. And I watched a lot yesterday too. And it was a real large information drop. Okay. From my mind goes from how much is this true? I wanted to start looking into some names, but not last names weren't given that I could remember. Because I want to dig in and I want to find out. But then I want to rationalize what was the sense of it, and some of the details given were completely unnecessary. Seemed like jabs that had nothing to do with the case.
That's the whole thing. Now they know that. So that's why some of this other stuff that's coming out onto the internet, and one of them being this vehicle that never got processed, never was driven by several people. The outside was washed.
Yeah,
you can't even bag it and tag it.
I don't understand why they didn't. Why did they make a stepfather bust the window in to drive it away?
Even if it was washed, you could still spray it with aluminol. I mean,
oh yes. And what about the dirt underneath? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Just, I mean, when are they going to do that? I'm still waiting for
the handle of the seat being moved had to have fingerprints in it because the seat was moved way up. Okay. Yeah. So then they're all buckle swabs of all that area.
So
buckle swabs of the whole inside.
I just
it makes
me a mess now. And
you think it's because it's small? I mean, honestly, it's not a large population there. Maybe they're not trained, which is sad because it's not an excuse. Okay. And thank God the mother has enough gumption and strength in her to get out there and make something happen. I applaud that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
She needs to know that the internet is a bad place. Even though you're coming here for good and you might think you're getting good, you need to figure out and be very cautious who you talk to and what you release, honestly, because you will be tore apart for no reason. And that is so sad.
Yeah,
But
that's like
it
the
is
hardest.
the facts.
It's like the hardest thing in a lot of these cases is the mothers want to bring out the awareness.
Yeah.
Don't think that not about the police, but like putting the face out there. I mean, who knows where Dylan could be? Who knows?
Just
I mean,
for her to get on and talk about his habits could help somebody if
Yeah.
they've seen somebody doing something like that, you know, or behaving in that way, or had a certain, you know, because she said she knew he was, you know, very predictable. Okay, so that means that she knew his habits. Listen to her. Nobody knows better than her, you know. Don't question her. Okay, she's going to give you facts. There ain't no damn mother out here who's going to lie about their child. So get that out of your head.
Well,
You know?
if they are, you're going to be able to figure it out right
Oh
away.
yeah, come on. Ellie would be on it anyway. You know.
I just want to bring this up. Darkness
yeah.
Exposed just retweeted this poster. I have yet to know anything, but this poster was just done. It says missing since June 21st, 2017. It's Perla Beltrain, 15 years old. Notice for Omaha, Nebraska.
Mhm.
So, oh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but
No, you didn't interrupt me. I just think it's just really super sad when you see that there are really good people out here like you, Level, and Arctic and Darkness Exposed, who really do put the facts out. Okay. Yeah. Today was a discussion, but you know what? You're nipping it in the butt. But as far as I'm concerned, you have covered pretty much everything you can think about this guy putting this out, his reasoning, whatnot, whatever. You might never know the answer, but at least you answered a lot of questions with facts.
well, I
Appreciate that.
I'm going to send this into the groups on Facebook.
Yeah,
of this live. And
I've already done
anybody
this.
that knows this guy, give this to him. I'm not by no means. He's probably a very, very good private investigator, and by no means. I just want to understand his reasoning for doing what he's doing. Because there was one point in there he was complaining that the parents were going on social media with stuff. So
well, he said that. He goes, go back to your podcasts or whatever it was, right? So why are you doing exactly what you're criticizing? That right there takes a little bit of your credibility away. It just sounds like it sounds like a get back or a 7-Up, what I call it, you know, the 1-Up thing. But I call it 7-Up because you're really taking it to extremes. You know, to me, if you're going to be credible, like I said, be documented, have documentation from beginning to end, and you don't come out here, you bring it to Ellie. There's just certain things that should not be said to the public that will interfere with an investigation. And ain't nobody going to change my mind on that.
Yeah. Here's another one out of Indianapolis. Missing person Larissa M. Sam, 24 years old, June 21st, 2015. Please call Indianapolis Police at 317-327-6539.
I like the fancy one, the fancy posters, because
they catch your eye.
Oh yeah, because I just put up this week's and today's anniversary missings, you know, so they're included, but they don't look like that. You know what I mean? They're just a regular FBI, you know, poster. So you belong
like
them blingy ones.
That one person that does the blue posters.
Mm-hmm.
And then is Sunshine still in here? Sunshine 1979.
Yes, she's still here.
If you send her some of those, she just puts that colorful background on it.
Oh,
and it puts the overlays, the like information like on the sides and stuff.
Yeah.
She does really, really good on there. So when you're doing some, just she DMs me through Twitter.
Right. I got Twitter.
Yeah. She's willing to do that stuff. She sends me flyers all the time. And I like the more catchier they are.
Yeah, I agree.
Actual FBI information or the local police information.
Yep.
That's better to have, so it's more accurate.
Oh my gosh, that's what I would. Yeah, that's the best way to have it, and they're beautiful. So hey, thanks for doing that. I'll tell you what, because any way you can bring, you know, a snap, crackle, and a pop to somebody's face, makes them look at that face, and you know, more than just a second is good. Because you know, I mean, Get them faces out there. As I try to do them, you do them, Arctic does them. We get as many as we can out a day. And I know that, you know what I mean? So, you know, just more people jump on the bandwagon, share our stuff, or, you know, look it up yourself and put it out and we'll share it for you. You know, it's all about awareness.
What was our safe word? Like pineapple juice, right, Sully?
Hey, tonight is, oh gosh, yeah, can't wait. I'm gonna shut up.
Oh yeah. You got into my Discord, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, there is a welcome page in there, and then they verify you and bring you into the actual stuff. I do a lot of just posters, but a lot of, like, if I've shared it someplace, I'm trying to use it as kind of like a vault to keep them, so that you're not searching all over the place for them when you're trying to do like a refresher on them. And I like these posters here. I'll grab and put in my.
Do you put them in by date?
No, I just put them in there. So
even you can even push them alphabetical.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know too much about Discord. I'm still new there.
Oh, I know so much.
I have a posters area in there. And I try to drop it like these that I just showed. They're cool posters.
They are.
And instead of taking up room on like any of my devices to save them, I just put them in there. And then I can always search for them or scroll through them or whatever.
Discord is the best place for research. That's where I come from. I've been on Discord for 5 years. I've got a multitude. I mean, we have library worth of research on cases. So I know, but I can tell you, I can give you little hints on how to make it very easy searchable.
Yeah, so, I guess when I put like this poster here, if I wanted to do, I could put dates and stuff, and I could search by dates.
Yeah, you can search by dates. You can search by alphabet. You know, you can go alphabetical order. You know, years, like from what year to what year. You know, 10-year spans. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
you'll get it, and that's a great place to save your stuff. It really is. It really is.
It just helps, and then the people and anybody's welcome to go in there and use any of the posters, and that's kind of the reason. It's kind of the reason why I made it, and then. There's different sections that we pop videos into and stuff. So
you can watch lives from in there. You can have lives from in there. You can have open mics from in there. I'll tell you, I use it for all kinds of different things. But I got to tell you, Discord is really the best place for, you know, your research.
Yeah, as long as you're
information highway, you know, where you can pass it along. The right way. Yep. Yeah, of course. I mean, information highway. That's what it should be for. Research and information highway, not personal like Facebook. Yeah, go to that.
Yeah.
No drama allowed.
Yes,
it is.
What else is Darkness Exposed going live today or not today?
I'm not sure. I do know that there's been a couple cases where there's found that little girl that was
that little girl
she was found. Yep,
I can bring it up. Here, I'll bring it up here.
Yeah, because that's good news. You know, every little win helps, and you know it gives you, it builds your hope back. And hope is
and this the one is this the one? I don't know too much because I was preparing to do this. So you can explain it. This one.
Yeah, she was located by her family, but she was put out right away. And I don't really know too much about it either. I just got it on the messenger thing. You know what I'm saying? So
I just know that they found her wandering around, I think, and then the parents were located.
Yep.
Oh, Darkness says tomorrow she's gonna go live.
Cool. Oh, good. Looking forward to it.
What was the other one? There was another one in here I can bring up real quick.
Yeah, Darkness really gets some boom boom. She's got a good link.
What was the other one?
13-year-old girl up there that
Chrissy
hasn't been seen since Sunday.
I'll be posting a schedule and trailer for lives tonight. Oh, nice. Hey, Darkness Exposed. What was the other one that was found today? Or Arctic? Arctic probably posted it on his. wall. If not, I'm sure he's doing it right now.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, Kennedy. Is it Kennedy Preddy? I think that's Kennedy has been found. I just want to thank everyone who has actively been looking for Kennedy Preddy. Yeah, Kennedy Preddy. She has been located and family will be getting her soon. I really can't thank everyone enough.
I know, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is really beautiful.
Yeah, those great.
Yes. Every win is good because that means more people are paying attention, because they're going out and coming and you're finding fast finds, you know what I mean? And that's really good because that means that the community is helping.
Well,
the chain of information is helping. The faces are being put out and that is helping.
Well, I watched the WJHL had a thing on the other day about how YouTube can help, or not YouTube, how social media can really help in a missing persons case, and then how it can really negatively hurt a case.
Nora Waters was found.
Oh, Here we go.
I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Ariana, I think. Well, that's good too. Thank you, Darwin.
It's just interesting because once the faster we could get out the information on social media and get the tweets going and get the retweets going and getting the Facebook posts out there and getting the YouTube flyers out there, the more that somebody types in that missing person into a Google thing, the faster that the public draws to it and the more pressure it puts on search and rescue, police, parents, other people to start doing their job and
it's nice to see them do their job, right? Like that 3-year-old, even though I'm very sorry and rest in peace, but Harry was found and everything they did is how every single missing person and child case should be handled. They put out full boards within the first 24 hours. And that is a marvelous thing to do.
Did I hear it right that there's another missing one that was close over there? Another little kid? Or maybe not little, maybe like a 12-year-old?
You know what? I think you're right, but I don't want to state as fact. I do believe I heard the same thing. So but let's just, know that, hey, that people are paying attention and we're getting wins, and let's keep fighting for those like Monkey and, and that Kayla, or what's that little girl's name? Oh gosh, I can never remember her name. She's
Harmony.
Harmony, but there's that little girl that was taken in the playground, in the apartment complex. I can't remember. Yeah. And, let's just, pray that they get home soon and that, keep putting out their faces. Like I do the missing and not forgotten all the time. And you guys are up to date cases that I follow, but I think everybody's important.
Well, I'm still getting into the groove of like this live is 2 hours and 30 minutes, but
it's a good one. It's a good one.
Getting into the groove of the other social media platforms are finally taking off. And I just need to get some more followers on them. And so that when I tweet something out or I post something on Facebook, that it gets out to more people. It'll happen with time.
And we can all help you happen it. Every one of us would help too. So
and
we got chains.
He posts stuff like crazy. And
I don't know how they keep up with it.
I love it. And some people probably find it annoying, but half the time I go look to see what's going on right there. And Darkness Exposed does a great job tweeting, does a great job on Facebook, does great lives. And without those two, man.
Yeah, for real. And I 1000% agree with you. And I try to put out every single thing they do and, support it and put it into my chain of people. Like they're
Yep.
different than yours. They're different than theirs, so it becomes that. And my friend told a friend and a friend and a friend, so that's what we can do. That's what we can do. Each one of us can do that because we all do not have the same chain of area or friends or eyes. So the more that click on and share and put out the word any way they can from what we're putting out, that just helps. Every single one of you subs, everybody. You don't have to be a creator.
I don't know enough about Twitter or Facebook yet. I'm still messing around.
Yes, I love Twitter.
I just don't. So
but I've been on there.
We can talk later about it, but
yeah, it's easy. You'll love it.
They're just little things that I don't understand, and I don't want to break any rules to get kicked off of there. So I just want to learn how to do it the right way, and that's why
I'll teach you. I've never been kicked off.
So
never. Mine are good. Yeah, you're good. You're not going to be offensive. You're going to be putting out facts, pictures, information. And as long as it's factual, you don't have nothing to worry about. I should get back on Twitter. Great, because I love it. There's your Twitter page. Everybody follow that Twitter link right there. We lost Livid for a second. And it's now just me here. Yeah, anything that's helpful, factual, you betcha. I like Twitter too. Oh, he got kicked off. So it's Hey, the Linda Show, never been done like before, ever. I never am on here by myself. Anyway, I do think this live is great. I think it's factual. It's nipping it in the bud. And hey, what can we do? Put out the facts, give our opinion, and drop it and move on to more factual information. Yeah, Livid, thanks. Now here comes the comedy act because Linda doesn't know what to say. Okay. Wonder where he went to. Got lost.
Got kicked twice from my own stream.
Yeah, thanks for leaving me an awkward. You're just trying to break me in for being on my own.
No, for some reason that was the second time today that it kicked me off. I did have internet people come on a couple days ago.
It's at History Speaks to Me 21. That's my Twitter handle. See, because I use that. History Speaks to Me. Did you get kicked out again?
No, I'm here.
Okay, then talk. End your show.
All right, we are going to end this. Let's see here. I just went to if you guys haven't joined my Facebook group or my Twitter, I do try to post as many posters and stuff there as possible. I do have a TikTok as well. TikTok doesn't work as great as what I thought it would.
I don't use it either.
I am on there and I'm determined to figure it out, but I just haven't had time to do it yet.
You'll get lost.
Sunshine, I will send that to you. I will DM it to you, okay?
Thank you, Sunshine, for all you do.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank you very much. Hey, thank you, everybody. And you want to know what else you can do to really help us, help Level for sure, is tell other people about his channel. Get him to subscribe so he gets up there in the analytics and the truth gets out there and facts get out there. If that's what you want to see more of that, the only way you can do that is like his videos and share them and tell other people that straight up the truth.
Yeah. I got it set up pretty well. I just need the algorithm, and I need you to help me with a couple things on my actual page because I don't think my notifications go out to anybody. So
there you go. Yeah.
There's a lot of yeah. So on that note,
Thank you.
I want to thank all the subs, everybody that watched this, all the mods, and all my panel guests. And the last punchline, it's all yours, checking.
See something, say something.